Alright guys, and we are back with Everman's Garage. As you can see, since the last video, we managed to cut and tack our gusset onto the beginning of our rail. We did do a dry fit off camera, and it looks like it's the right size, a little bit long, but that's a good thing because we'll get to trim it up later. As of right now, we are working on the other side of our channel, but we're running into an issue where as we bend our tabs down, this back side of our plate is running into the vise. So we're going to work on figuring out how we can go about bending this the rest of the way down, keeping a nice sharp angle here without having to notch out for the vise. Alright guys, I think I figured out our nice quick fix here. Had a piece of this channel lying around. It's a nice heavy duty piece. I've used it as a jack plate, whatever. It's way too heavy to use on this body, but anyways, it just barely wasn't thick enough, so we ended up tacking on this small piece of flat stock here, and this measurement right here is 2 1/8, which is the perfect size for what we need to go from down here to up here. So we should hopefully be able to just slide that in, and then take our hammer and beat on it and flatten this back down. So after a few tests on the ribs that we've already bent, tabs that we've already bent, our jig seems to be performing well. In order to get the full 90, I mean, some of these aren't even there yet, but we actually had to invert the jig so that this portion was facing up, and then we could bend the metal down into here. Good news is, took our tape measure, measured out this distance, and it matches the same height on that, which will allow us to weld these two pieces up, no problem. Alright guys, so we have our channel formed, at least on the back side. Still have to finish bending over our weld tabs. First thing that we're going to tackle though is drilling out our holes so that we can then weld to our other piece. So what we know is that we have 2 inches, that's going to be our width. Instead of cutting off this extra, we're actually going to keep it. That's going to allow us to mount our decking on top, or at least give us a little bit more meat to do that. But first thing we're going to do is trace this line all the way down, and then measure our drill bit width. The reason we're going to do that is so that we make sure that we can drill into our metal and not go past our 2-inch mark. Maybe instead of marking this out, I'll just measure that width and then bring the center line down. My guess is it's going to be about a 1/2 inch over from this. Alright guys, so we drilled our holes, at least on our first channel piece. And then before proceeding to drill this other channel piece, we decided to tack our 2 pieces together, see how they lined up. Little piece of advice here. This is part of the reason why I like putting tech screws in to hold shit together. Shouldn't have a gap like that, and as you can see, the weld suffered because of it. So yeah, they're all about that bad. So Luckily, those are just a few tacks. I should be able to fill the rest of the holes after doing some screwing. Also looks like we forgot to trim this little portion of this gusset plate, and it forced this whole channel out. The tab's been cut off, but we did that a little late, so I'm starting to find that we kind of incurred a serious bend going down on this part. So now, as you can see, I'm trying to set my tech screws, and they actually keep pulling out, so I need to actually clamp this in the vise to get it nice and tight before sinking a screw in. And yeah, they're still so hard that I just broke the tip right off my screw gun. So I'm gonna try to get enough screws set along this top that I can run a bead of weld right across the back of this. We'll do that instead of trying to tack weld through the top. Tack welds, they're a good idea, but I mean, really it was just to get these two pieces together to begin with, and you know, these, I keep burning through on these spots, so maybe it'd be in my best interest to just run a solid bead. Probably gonna end up doing that on this back side too, and then just leave these holes for drainage because, well, once again, these pieces rusted out, so might as well make sure that they can't hold water in them. This is how our channel's looking right now. As you can see, I'm using way more tech screws than I really would have needed, mostly to get a slight twist that I'm having out. As you can see, it's actually collapsing right here, but then of course it's pushing out down here. So glad I just tack welded it. So far I've cut one of them, and hopefully I should be able to work around these other two. But it looks like I'm going to need another clamp. C-clamp's not going to work. I need something to actually spread right here. The wall down there is clamped. So we'll have to get back to this later.